Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Lia. Welcome to my home in Charleston. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hello, I'm Lia Burke Libaire. I'm an artist and the co-owner of textile company Brier and Byrd. Welcome to my home here in Charleston. My husband and I bought this house. It's in Hampton Park, which is a part of Charleston, which is downtown. I think we've been here about 5 years. We bought the house right before COVID happened. So we were very fortunate to be so close to this wonderful park and have the time to update the house in the way that we needed to. The house was built in 1917, so there's a lot of different sort of quirks that you'll see throughout the house. For example, the bedrooms are all attached, or were at one point, some of them still are. There's just sort of different quirky little details throughout the house that you'll see. We're here in my foyer, and I wanted to show you some of these pieces. This is an antique demi-lune, which is, I'm not a furniture expert, but it's a little bit unusual to me. I don't think demi-lunes are usually this big. This is about 4, almost 5 feet across. And I mentioned art earlier. We have some different pieces here. This is actually a piece that I did. I can show this to you. I did this years ago, Chateau Marmont. I saw prints of this. Little plug right there. But I just love the loose pencil lines of this. And we sort of switched the art out that's around here. I used to collect these bugs from this store in London off of Portobello Road. This is the only one that's made it out to the open right here. For now, might switch it up. Another thing that we love in here is the light fixture that we purchased for here was something I thought a lot about, and it was COVID, so everything took a really long time, and I ended up going with this. It's Urban Electric, and their factory is here in Charleston. If anyone is here and in the design world, I highly recommend trying to go on a tour there. Their factory is, everything is handmade, and it's all pristine, and it was super inspiring in the COVID days to go see everything made by hand. And we love it. It's traditional, but still clean looking, and it sort of bridges the gap between the designs in our home. We have this little hand sconce too that's sort of very famous by them that we also love in this finish. So we love the paneling. It was something that we really loved about the house and all the original details. Typically in homes from this era, it will be dark wood. And for me, this was painted when we moved in, which was nice because that's probably something I would have wanted to do, but maybe would have felt bad painting the original dark wood. So this was painted when we moved in, but we loved it and we kept it. So you will see lots of books around this house. My husband and I are book people, not to put the Kindle down, but we like real books. So this is sort of an interesting little book nook that we have. It leads into our powder room, which has also these very cool hats, which I like to show off. And where? We have a really cool boat model here. This was actually my husband's, I think these were his grandparents that someone made, and we just love it. And I will say there's another photo over here, which is meaningful to me. This is actually a basement, which is very unusual in Charleston since we're below sea level and flooding is an issue. But this is a photo by Natalie Abradovich, who is a friend of mine, and this was a photo taken in Antibes, and I just love it. So I get to pass it every day. Coming through this little book nook and this weird sort of vestibule area that is odd, but we love. We have the powder room, and I have this painted in a really, I don't know if I'd call it mint, but it's a really pretty sort of pastel greeny blue. And we have all these brass sort of antique pieces of art and old prints from different places. And I think it really pops against that paint color. Just love it. And on this side, on this bench right here, we have a sort of collection of art. We're always sort of switching things out. My husband sells maritime art. It's called Windward Antiques. And we're constantly getting new pieces. He's buying things at auction and selling, so things are coming and going. So here's a sort of little resting area for them before they make their way throughout the house or out. And this is a piece that I really love that I won't let him sell. So off of our foyer to the right, we have our living and dining room. This is sort of the more formal living area for us. We have a lot of family pieces in here. This was a daybed that was my grandmother's in her townhouse in New York. I just had it recovered in this beautiful Miles Redford Schumacher fabric, which I love, which I'm sure will be trashed soon. And then this is a beautiful Louis XVI settee from my husband's mother, which I love. And then these were found on the side of the road in New York City. And I had them recovered and mitered these pillows. They're falling apart a little bit, but I still love them. Lots of coffee table books. We are plant people, as you can see. We have some banana palms. This is an olive tree here and this old terracotta planter. And you'll see throughout our house, we love greenery and plants. My husband is the green thumb, not me. I would say we're not really like gallery wall people. I bought this in Berlin maybe like 10 years ago. I just loved it. And I love again, the juxtaposition of something really modern and different against more traditional things. There's a painting over here, which is actually not in great condition at all. This was in my house growing up, and I love the sort of moody colors of it. And my mom sent it to me not too long ago. So it lives behind this plant now, but I love it. This is a painting that my in-laws bought. They actually thought this looked like my husband when he was a baby, so they bought it for him. And we think it's kind of a cheeky little nod having the baby drinking above the bar, so we like that. I have mentioned that we are book people. We love coffee table books. This is sort of our selection that's out here now, and it's really a mix. I mentioned my husband is into maritime art, so we have plenty of these books around. A lot of my art is really inspired by and informed by scientific and antique prints. So I have a couple of different books here that sort of brings that to life here. And I have to plug this, Haskell Harris's book. She is the style editor at Garden and Gun, and this is her book. I paint a lot of stripes too, so I worked with her on creating the cover, and she featured me in it, and it's a fabulous design book. And we have some Dali over here, and again, some different sort of scientific and antique print. Lots of candles. Since our house is older, it is not insulated well, and it's very cold I know Charleston, no one thinks about it being cold, but it's that sort of wet coldness, and our house gets very chilly. So come early, mid-December, depending on when it starts getting cold, we have a fire every day. We start it in the morning, and we have it every day, which is so lovely. We're really hanging out in this room a little bit more in the winter, but we love having fires. It's a working fireplace. We had to have the whole thing re-sleeved when we moved in. It was a mess. And on here these are beautiful urns. I bought these from John Pope Antiques here in Charleston. I love them. The top broke on one, but we fixed it. And I love collecting little matches and stuff. I know a lot of people do that. I got into portrait painting for a while. Maybe I'll get back into it. I thought I just like the colors in this room. I thought it worked well. This house actually wasn't listed. We left a letter in the door. Houses don't get listed in this area very often. A lot of the owners are in the homes for a very long time. So our broker put a note in the door, and luckily, this was one of the only houses I really, really wanted to. And luckily we heard back, and the woman was interested and sort of ready to sell and move on from Charleston. So when we first walked into the house, you could tell just the bones of the home were really beautiful. And everything seemed pretty cosmetic. A lot of bright colored paint, lots of ochre paint, which at the time I really didn't like, and you'll see in one of the rooms that's sort of the color of one of the wallpapers I've chosen. So everything comes full circle. It really was very cosmetic and sort of easy to do. We needed to redo the kitchen, but there was just a lot of stuff in the house. And we are not minimalists by any means, but there was a lot of furniture, a lot of different colors, and so it just needed to be streamlined. So I would say the style in this house is a lot of different styles. I would say it's eclectic. I would say it's very collected. A lot of the furniture that we have was passed down from my family or Julian, my husband's family, and there's some newer pieces mixed in. We have reupholstered a lot of antiques here. And I would say it's really just, we like to use pieces that we love and that we like and that speak to us rather than following any sort of one style. But I would say classic, collected, eclectic, with a hit of traditional. So we're heading out here onto our screened-in porch, which is off the living room. And starting about now, when it starts cooling down in Charleston a little bit, we are out here all the time. When we first moved in here, this was pretty unusable because it's so buggy here. But you can see these beautiful archways. We had screens placed in. The guys came and made them here. It was actually very cool to watch. They bent these huge metal rods and then inserted the screens. So we're out here all the time now. Here is our outdoor dining table. It's exposed to the street. Maybe you can hear some of the cars, but we love having big dinner parties out here. We bring in lots of chairs from other places in the house if needed. So that's why it's kind of just eclectic. Lots of different things going on in terms of the chairs. Okay, so we've come back inside and this is our sitting room, which is on the other side of the foyer. This is where my kids usually are. And I've covered this sofa. I like to use Cantha blankets. Maybe you saw them outside on the porch too, but they're not expensive and I can throw them in the wash and they look kind of fun and bring some color into the room. Again, more books. We actually had this bookshelf built when we moved in here and we wanted it to look like it had been here. So these are constantly coming and going. And while I'm talking about what we built, we also built this wall, which actually I think looks we continued this paneling through here. So this wall wasn't here. This was just open to this other sitting room, which was actually an addition that was put on, I think maybe like 20 or 30 years ago. But this has pocket doors just to close it off if we want to. But we really wanted it to look original and like it had been here, not like we had added it. I would say one of my favorite rooms is actually the children's playroom, which is a little strange. It was my studio before I moved my studio out of the house, and you'll see it's at the end of the house. It gets great light, and it has one of my favorite wallpapers from our company, Brier and Byrd, in it, along with some of my art. But we also have a huge ship model in there, which I think is really fun, and it's where my kids play. Okay, and off of the sitting room, this is our playroom. This room was my studio before I moved it out of the house. It gets great light, and the kids have big rooms, but there's no playroom in this house. So we decided that this would be the sort of kids' playroom. And of course, I had to put up my wallpaper. This is Brier and Byrd. This is our geranium print. This is one of the first patterns we made. This marigold color has been really popular for us. It was something we introduced sort of recently. So I think it's really fun. We custom matched the trim to the paper. Strangely, the kids keep it kind of clean. I obviously clean this, but they keep it kind of neat now that the room is sort of done. This is a really cool ship model that was built in Portugal. Again, more of the maritime stuff. This is from my husband's family. This is a painting of mine. It's a little bit different than some of the other things I do. I do these sort of painted photos. They're all my photos. They're black and whites, and I put different watercolor, gouache, acrylic, ink on them. This was taken at Day Roll in Paris. And I love that picture. But I also did this. Sometimes I just want to see something and I'll paint it myself. It looks kind of happy hands at home, but I like it. I like the graphic nature on something that's more sort of traditional and detailed. I like how that looks. For the light in here, this was always a sort of dark room when it's not daylight. So we got this Noguchi lantern in a really large size, which I love. I love this lantern almost anywhere. I feel like this could work in many, many different scenarios. So we're heading upstairs now, but I wanted to point out this art. These are Bensons. They're my husband's collection, but it's interesting because they're from Essex, Massachusetts, which is sort of the area that part of my family is from. So kind of an interesting little connection there. So at the top of the stairs, we have an original purple bathroom, which I have to show you. This is original purple tile, which is in pretty good condition. I'm told it's called Orchid de Viennese, I think. It's something like that. And it was an American standard color. It was one of the big colors in the 20s and 30s, I think. So this is all original and it's in pretty good condition. The previous owner was really happy when she found out that we liked it. We wanted to keep it. It's definitely, you know, it's purple. It's not for everybody, but we love it. And this is another Brier and Byrd wallpaper. So it's one of my wallpapers. This is called Trippy Toile. And you can see it incorporates different eyes and celestial things and scarabs and other sort of meaningful symbols. But we did this in a custom color to match the tile. Yeah, everything in here is an original and it's in pretty good shape. I mean, the way, I don't know if this was used very often since it's so old. I mean, it's 100 years old. So we love it. We love that it's different. And yeah, we're happy to keep it. So we're here in my son's room. He is 3.5. He's gonna be 4. So he has his big boy bed and we still have his crib, which my friends love to make fun of me about, but we like to keep our kids in cribs real late around here. I think his room, I like buying things that are gonna stand the test of time. So I'm not really into like kids furniture and kids stuff. So I feel like you can tell it's a boy's room, but it's still a little bit sophisticated maybe. Like we have real art in here. This is another Malcolm Morley, which again is an artist from where my husband's from in Long Island. This is a larger print of mine. We have some pine furniture in here as well as in my daughter's room. I love this rug. This was another Etsy find. There's also, this is a leather sofa that has been with my husband for a really long time. And I just love how like beat up and broken in it is. These sconces are a little funny. They were here when we purchased the house and I loved them, but they were actually upside down and I thought it was this sort of it's called a Euro fitter lampshade, but it wasn't. It's something else. Like it took me like months and months to find the right lampshade. Then we finally figured out that we'll just turn them upside down, but they're still not fully attached and they're not straight, so they're a thorn on my side. But they look okay for now. Come with me and I'll show you the primary bedroom. So this is the primary bedroom. This is a massive room. It was actually 2 different rooms. You can see right here, this divider was the wall between these 2 bedrooms and someone created one giant room. I would maybe prefer it to be 2 rooms. I don't think we need a master this big, but here we are. So we have a fireplace right here. This is not a working fireplace right now, sadly. We don't really need it here in Charleston, but we decided to put this big carpet in. It's not wall to wall, but that sort of idea. So that doesn't really work with a fireplace. It's a nice little sitting area. This again is an antique from my family. I had it recovered in this really pretty Pindler, just very basic, ticking stripe. These are also from Julian's family, my husband's family. And we're always rotating the art in here as well. This is a new piece. It's a little bit damaged, but I love the colors and I love how it plays off the navy blue walls. You can come over here. I talked a little bit about antique prints and how much I love them. I do a lot of these. I love to source antique prints and I hand paint these stripes. So that's fun for me to do and works well in here. The rest of the house is sort of light and bright, so I really wanted to do something darker and moodier in the bedroom. And so I went with this sort of midnight blue that this room gets a lot of light, especially in the beginning of the day, so I felt like it could stand with it. And I love how art pops off it. I think it looks really great, and it's just different. I thought about painting the ceiling, but that probably would have been a little bit much. But we love this color. So as I mentioned, this room used to be 2 bedrooms and there's really no other place in this bedroom to put the bed. So we have it up against here. We had some bamboo shades made and it's been on my to-do list to have curtains made. It's always a work in progress because of, you can see the eaves and dormers and that sort of thing. It's really hard to get a proper curtain rod in somewhere. You can see over here. And I don't really know how to do it here. So we kind of just work with what we have, and this is really the only place for the bed that we could figure out. These lamps I bought here in Charleston for the pair. They're carved dolphin wood lamps. And this room is big, so I really was looking for something really tall and big. And then I sourced these. I know we're seeing all this beautiful marbled paper everywhere, which is so fun. I sourced these. I'm blanking on this place, but they're from somewhere in England. They're all handmade. And I just thought the colors were fun and worked in here well. My mom is an armoire lover, so this is an armoire that was also in her apartment in New York. I won't open it and show you all my messy clothes, but it's really big and deep and has shelves in it. So it's a great piece. There's also a bureau over here, which is missing some of the hardware, but I need to find a replacement. But anyways, it's really beautiful. This was, had this big glass encasement piece, which was broken in a move, but it now is great storage for clothes. This was my grandmother's. It's an old piece of Baker furniture. Obviously, we've talked a lot about art, but this is a really cool piece. This is by a local artist here in Charleston. Her name is Isabel Bornstein, and she does collage. And she used to take commissions. I don't know if she does anymore, but this was my daughter when she was probably 3 and my sweet doggy. And I love this piece, so she's an incredible artist here. Just talking more about layers. We have more books here. Books are sort of everywhere, and I love layering rugs. We obviously have this carpet here, but we have a lot of special rugs. My mother-in-law used to sell rugs, so we have many rugs to choose from. I sort of designed our bedroom around this rug because I love the colors in this rug. I love how it has these sort of like magentas, but these muted sort of buff colors and different blues. And we sort of, I don't want to say we matched the walls to the sort of midnight blue, but it definitely corresponds. I'm an artist. I've been an artist professionally for 5 or 6 years. I do have a background in furniture. I come from an interior design company. I do mostly botanical watercolor. I work with a lot of different companies. I work with a lot of different brands. I sell art in a lot of different places, mostly through my website. I'm on Moda Operandi. I sell at KRB in New York, which I'm very proud of. And I'm also the co-founder of wallpaper company Brier and Byrd. My partner, Georgia Tappert Howe, who's a designer, interior designer based in LA, and a dear friend since high school, approached me about 4 years ago about starting a wallpaper line. And sounded great. We had no idea how to do it, but slowly we pulled it together. We launched at Hollywood at Home in LA, and we're in 5 showrooms now. So I would say that my art parallels my interior and personal style, which is, again, classic with a twist, sort of, I guess, or a little bit of edge, I'd say. And in my art, a lot of times, you know, I'll draw a plant or something, but it will be something a little bit weird or maybe trippy or something. Like I did a whole series of carnivorous plants, or, you know, I'll hide some bugs or snails in something, or, you know, I like things to have something a little different. Maybe you have to look a little harder, but there's something sort of fun and different placed in the details. Something that's really important to my husband and I is art, as you can see throughout the house. And I think different layers of art that's really meaningful to people, or maybe they've collected on travels or something that was passed down to them, whatever it is that really speaks to them, that's what I think makes a house really interesting. And I love that sort of layered look. I hope that we have that. I think we do. We have a lot of stuff going on in here. But we have our kitchen here, which we did a little bit of work on probably 18 months ago. So the cabinets we loved. Probably wouldn't pick glass, but I'm glad that it's glass now. The previous owner had put glass in. All of the cabinets were a dark, dark red. So we painted them this beige, and this was a bar counter. So we brought that down and redid the countertops to soapstone. And then the big thing that we did was that this was actually a walk-in pantry, which I loved coming from New York. The pantry had a window, which was like the size of my kitchen in New York. So I loved that. But we really needed a place to sit with the kids. And if we're entertaining smaller groups, we'll hang out in here, this little dining nook. We decided to paint the dining nook this green. It's a Pharaoh and ball color, and I love it. I think it just brings something different to the space. And those were original, so those shelves were there, and we pick and pull things from there all the time. Those 2 yellow urns my mom always had, and I never loved them, and she gave them to me, and now I really love them. And sometimes they're in the living room. They're great for flowers. Just speaking again to the art all over the house, I love putting pictures of food in the dining nook. I had a picture of a big crudité painting, which I sold. It was a painted photo actually, but I have a birthday cake there now, which is fun. Kids love cake, obviously. And then we like to mix in some of these older antique oils. This is an older piece. Again, another graphic piece I just decided to paint. I thought it was fun, the mix of the two. We have super basic wine glasses, which are from Amazon. But they're good to have for parties, because if they break, you can just have an extra box and it's not expensive. These I love. These are all different. I actually found these on Etsy. I don't know if you can see them. They're really pretty, but they're all different. They're all handmade, and I'm obsessed with these. They're nice, thick glass, and they all have like really different, interesting colors. And then on top, we have these really cool champagne coupes that were my grandmother's. I can't reach it, it's way up there, but it's got like a gold lining on it with a little Greek key, and I love a Greek key. So a little bit of everything in here. This stove makes me very happy. It's a La Cornu. I love the brass. It cooks really well. Weirdly, I thought it was just for looks, but it actually gets really hot, and the stove and the oven get super hot. You sort of have to learn how to cook on it. But this is my baby. I moved here about 7 or 8 years ago. I was living in New York at the time, and I was ready to make a move. Never considered Charleston, but then I met my now husband, and he was in Charleston to stay. And I had been to Charleston before and liked it, didn't know that much about it, but I ended up moving down here. And here we are. I am an old home person. My husband is too. So we weren't exactly looking for an old home, but I don't think we would have ended up in anything besides an old home. We did actually look at one new build, and I thought, ooh, that would be nice. No old home problems, but we ended up in the old home, and we definitely have the old home problems, but I think we're both used to it. We both grew up with that, and we love the history of the home. We love what old homes bring. So come on outside and I'll show you our little guest cottage. So this is our little guest house, guest cottage, guest garage, I'd say. So this is the room. This was totally raw. We built this. It was nothing. It was like concrete. We've kept the concrete floors, which we've painted in this pretty blue. And it basically just fits the bed, which is all we really need. This is a painting. We have a few other paintings by this artist. His name is Malcolm Morley. He's from Bellport, New York, which is where my husband's from. And yeah, we just wanted to keep it really light and airy and cozy and comfortable in here. We have this rattan lantern here, which I love. These plaster lamps, which are fun. I've always loved this Christopher Farquhar fabric, so I was happy to be able to incorporate it somewhere in the house, or in the property, I should say. And then I have to show you this. I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. This is Jerry Seinfeld's blueprint to his apartment, if you want to take a look. Oh, and Kramer's. We like to play it fast and loose here, so not everything's hung. You'll see in the house, a lot of things are just leaning up like that, but I'm okay with that. And this is a really special little table. This was actually in my bathroom for a long time, but this was shipped down from New York. This was in my mom's apartment, and it was in my grandmother's apartment before that. So I love this little piece. So this is our cozy little guest cottage. Again, just one tiny little compact room, but we love having people here and that they get to have their own space, especially since we have little kids. So come on, I'll show you the rest of the house. This is our back patio. We actually had a big pergola here, which I loved, but my husband took it down one day. He said he was thinking about it and then he took it down, but we're glad we took it down because it was actually like rotting into the house. So then we had to redo this whole side. But we put down this lighter colored stone. It's very hot here, so this sort of doesn't retain the heat as much as a slate or blue stone. We've done oyster shells over here, clam shells, and this gets really beautiful. Little roses, climbing roses, really beautiful, and wisteria when it's blooming. So this is the back of our house. This is a really cool original little greenhouse. We do not use it, sadly. At the moment, we will. But this is original to the house. It's a little potting shed you can stand up in. I'm told avocados would grow very well in there. We have a lot of different fruit trees that aren't really blooming right now, but we have a persimmon tree there. We have a blood orange tree, which is up against the house. I'm told they need 2 so they can germinate or fertilize, whatever. And then we have a lot of different kumquat trees all along here that we eat all season long. We also have some other citrus trees. We have lemons out front, and that's it. I would say home, it's funny because I moved a lot growing up. My mom and dad were divorced and they both moved a lot. So I've lived in I've had a lot of different homes. But to me, home is a place where you can be with your family, where you can relax, you can rest, you can be yourself, get comfortable, and recharge. Thank you for coming to check out my home, Homeworthy. I hope you liked it as much as I do. Now it's time to go. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.